fashion back in Baltimore. Most people in Baltimore, they're gonna have a Louis V bag, like a little case, or they'll just have the lighter leash. That's it. They got the lighter leash right in front. They let you use it, but you're not walking off with the lighter.
You're not walking off with the lighter.
And pop out the leash, they gonna have a problem.
So we're gonna do this one more time. Yes. We're here with my guy. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Tristan Schunick, aka MD Dabber on Instagram.
That's right.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm a legacy operator out of the Eastern Shore of Maryland, as well as a cleft lip and palate advocate.
And we're here. This is it's the first episode of $1 Million Lungs.
Okay.
Yeah. First episode of $1 Million Lungs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're here to educate the people and share your story. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so we came out to this event. What's the name of this event today?
This is 1,000 Clones to 1,000 Homes, hosted by my mentor, DC Scroller. Right now we're in New York. We're right off of Broadway. And now this is the Band-Aid Haze, crossed to a Diesel, Van Diesel, and some Black Cuban Haze. Shout out to my man, Chris Schemes.
Legendary. And then what do we have here? We're going to get a quick close-up. What do we have here?
We got here
AMG Sour.
AMG Sour. Like the Grape Gok. Grape Gok is grape pie to the Gok. It's really nice. This actually produces purple hash.
Ooh.
Purple hash. Dumper.
Ooh, what do we have? Those East Coast, you know what I'm saying?
We got some Black Cuban Haze in the building.
Okay.
White Boy Kev and the La Marina Boys.
Okay.
East Coast Petro. Pull up to the pump, you know.
What do we have here?
This should be, I can't remember which one that is. Oh, the Lemon Diesel. Lemon Diesel. And we got Blessed. We got a Super Lemon Haze. And not only is it a Super Lemon Haze, this is the Franco cut of the Strain Hunters. There we go. I was going to say Seed Hunters, and I knew it was wrong.
Right.
So I wasn't going to say it. It's Strain Hunters.
Alright.
Franco was a big part of Strain Hunters. They went all across the whole world. They documented going to like the hills in Colombia, India, Afghanistan, everywhere, finding wildly grown cannabis and finding seed stock, bringing it back, growing it, housing the genetic, and testing it and just studying it. It helped develop a huge amount of just knowledge in the cannabis space for cultivars and how they naturally grow out, where we find them from. And I don't know how else to describe it, you know what I mean? He's a legend in the field.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace.
Man.
With Franco, you know? Yeah.
So we got some legendary strains, legendary names, legendary grows. Okay. This is really $1 Million Lungs, you know what I'm saying? Worthy.
We got some heavy hitters up in here.
Absolutely.
Shout out to my mentor, Scroller. Appreciate you putting these things together. Have these type of opportunities, meet great people all over. Always connected dots.
Man, tell us about the legacy. Your legacy.
My legacy. Well, I grew up in a household, early 90s, or late 90s. I'm born in 96, so it's late 90s, early 2000s. And my uncles were running around, plenty of cannabis around, and it just happened to be the best in the area. And it predominantly kept that reputation years to come. They never lost it. They had great connections up in New York. They had great connections all across. I had my aunt, thank God for my aunt Izzy. She went out to California. When she went to California, she learned that the plant had a whole different community behind it, a whole different meaning. And she paved the way for everybody back home. Everybody was just dominoes heading in the direction. Everybody made their own progress. But yeah, I mean, we were a legacy to the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
Okay.
And that is Cambridge, Maryland, to be exact. They have been educating and taking care of people and making sure people take care of like cancers and sleep disorders, things like that. We've helped all for the past 20, 30 years. So I grew up with cannabis in the house. It wasn't foreign to me, but we were very aware that it was foreign to the public. We could not speak about it.
Right.
You had to be hush-hush. You don't say this, you don't say that.
Right.
And even when it came time that I was dabbling with it in my adolescence, my uncles caught wind and they were like, you come over here. You want to smoke some cannabis, you're going to be with us.
Okay.
Because they wanted to make sure it was safe. Unfortunately, there were cases of people like putting random things on the weed. A friend of theirs had a lung collapse from WD-40 being sprayed on the weed.
Wow.
So they were very adamant about making sure that I only got it from them, or a very trusted source. And it's always carried through. I mean, that started, I was about 13 years old.
Okay.
By the time 16, 17, we're in high school, making sure all my boys got their sacks, you know, stuff like that. We're finding little Canadian magazines, getting infatuated with different cultivars, learning about strain names, trying to talk to our uncles about strain names if they came across them. And then about 2012, 2013, my uncle Morton, he started getting his hands on organics. And we didn't know they were organics at the time. They were just some of the best quality flowers we could get our hands on. And they were actually grown by a good friend of his. His mother, the mother's friend, had, the friend of the mother, had been an organic grower her whole life. So she just applied it to cannabis, didn't know if it was going to work or not. And it came out with this beautiful product. We had super sour diesels, super lemon haze. That's why I'm really big on that one. Jack Frost, lemonade, blueberry, orange crush. Oh man, there was a lot of them that came through in that era. And then there was the start of the concentrates. And that's where I was in the back seat. My younger brother Gavin, he actually was a little bit more enveloped. He dropped out of school and was working and had more time to be in the field of cannabis while I was in school. So he got way more enveloped in it, way more connected. He started going to Philly, getting connections up there and things, and educating himself on how things work, looking at slabs and different things of distillate, and figuring out what's what. And he was the first person on our shore in our age group to have concentrates, to educate people in our age group about concentrates, and to even play with it. Even people older than us never played with it. They bought shatter, they sold shatter. That was it. We knew, okay, well, they're shatter, but the same product ends up being battered. How do we do that? We looked at it, like, okay, it's a super expensive machine we don't have the money for at all. We're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
And a fellow friend on the West Coast we were tapping in with sent out some not so great wax. This was early. Probably 2013.
Okay.
2012. It was trim run. And not only trim run, but they didn't decarb it enough, so there was tang bubbles. So we complained about it. And the thing he said was, well, just try and put it somewhere where there's some heat that'll naturally decarb. We put it on top of the Xbox 360.
On top of the Xbox 360.
On top of the Xbox 360, when my brother's playing Modern Warfare 2, going crazy, you know?
Yo.
It's just dropping, you know, we going crazy on the zombies. Hours on hours on hours of gameplay. Things booming.
Yeah.
And it's creating its own little micro oven. And we didn't even know it. We just put it on there, started changing from shatter to shug wax. We're like, oh, we had to pay more if we get shug wax. So it became, oh, we can actually pay bills this way. This is crazy. It was a great way, and we took in a lot of our friends, and some of our friends, they liked flower, but they didn't get the full experience of what they wanted or the full relief.
Right. Even
older adults, they were dealing with opiate issues or alcoholism. They got away from it more from concentrate because it was strong enough. Most flowers aren't strong enough to contradict somebody in that bubble.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was one part that my brother he would go up to Philly. They would have clothing drives and backpack drives and food drives and things for people that were struggling with these issues to open their minds up to what cannabis could do for them and hopefully fix their issues.
Right.
And the main reason they would go up to Philly was for a girl named Tuffy.
Okay.
A little girl named Tuffy. It was called Tuffy's Fight. Shout out to Poe, the man N.A. Poe. He's got the sandwich shop in Fishtown. Can't remember the name right now. It's drawing a blank. I'm sorry. But they had a huge session event that was based around the girl Tuffy and her epileptic seizures. And now RSO was changing it from her having 300 to 400 seizures a month to 3 or 4.
Jesus Christ.
And like when it gets bad enough, she has to go around the house with a helmet because they're in fear that she might knock a tooth out or cause a head injury, hitting a coffee table or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it just opened up the eyes to, it's not only a product that can be appeasing to adults with issues, but it can also help with children if it's studied in the right manner.
Right.
So, I mean, our legacy, it hails back, way back. I mean, it really started around the 90s, early 2000s era. You had Jay-Z going crazy, and a lot of people don't know that Jay-Z has family in Cambridge. He grew up in Cambridge a little bit. And Emory Jones has family in Cambridge. They just did a documentary with Emory Jones and Philly Freeway. Shout out to my uncle DJ L Kid.
Okay.
He put that together. He just did the Unity Festival on Pine Street as well. Had a lot of local artists as well as New York City and Baltimore artists performing right on the street.
Fire.
And that brought a lot of influence down. So a lot of people that were on point with the weed in New York, it trickled right down into our town. These people going back and forth. It's the same people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for the weed world, we had access to things in the region that almost seemed impossible or didn't exist because they were coming from a city. Yeah, they were coming from a city. I don't know what else word I was going to use.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just access to information. We had access to not only information but sources. People were coming from Canada. First place they gonna stop, New York. You know,
right?
So some of the first good weed that we actually had experience was BC bud. A lot of it was BC bud before we ever got our hands on.
What's BC?
California.
What's BC bud?
British Columbia.
Okay.
That's what it's the generic term for Canadian cannabis grown at that time that was high quality because it was majority grown in British Columbia, being the northwestern side, which is right along that same coast as the Emerald Triangle. So you have the Emerald Triangle, then you have Oregon, Washington State, and then after that you have Canada.
Okay,
They're
right.
all on the same coast. It's all, information's going up and down, genetics are going up and down. But they had their own situation. But even just having access to the city, because how many different walks of life in different parts of the world come into New York,
right?
It would just trickle down to us. And for people in Virginia, people in Delaware or other counties around us, they had no idea. Even people in Baltimore, I have 9 times out of 10 I will drop gems on them that they weren't aware of. You know? And it's just been a door after a door after a door opening.
So it sounds like you've traveled and educated the entire DMV and East Coast, it seems like. Even some of the West Coast.
I would never take credibility for that, but I have put my drop in the pond, you know what I mean? Like, I've done my part to educate my peers.
You've helped the
steer
culture
them in the right direction. Even my older, the elders, you know what I mean? The people before me, or even my mentors. Like earlier when I was talking about concentrates, my uncles, they knew everything to do about the concentrates was a new world for them too.
Right.
Because it was just as fresh to them as it was for us. So it was a really nice bonding type of time there because it was a learning experience for us. But the more that we learned, we got to teach the people that taught us.
Right.
We got to give back. You know what I mean? Like, y'all been giving us this information, keeping us safe forever. Oh, we learned this and this. It'd be wrong for us to keep it away.
And
you know what I mean?
And truthfully, when you got there, you guys needed each other. They know how to grow the best weed. You know how to make the concentrates.
Well, not necessarily make the concentrates, or even them growing the weed. It was more, our legacy stems from providing the good, not producing the good. Providing the good and being able to have an eye for the quality.
Right.
Know what you're looking at and know what quality was back then, because it was a rare thing to know what good weed was. Everybody said they know what good weed was, but
your legacy is quality control.
That would all lay in the same area and be like, yeah, you know what's going on.
Exactly.
They'll lock in from across the room, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's been a blessing.
A lot like how we did.
Huh?
Said a lot like how we did.
Oh, 100%. Several times. Yes, sir. But I mean, it's been a blessing to be this lucky to have the access. I mean, we come from poverty, so we're very close to each other. You know what I mean? So we've been using it to take care of each other. We use it as a team effort. And it's been something that we've seen other legal revenues come in and they've been able to be built. And that's what I'm working on now, is trying to expand the legacy in the legal route for most people.
Absolutely.
But that got postponed from the health issues.
Understandable.
That is the reason why we have these little. I sound like a skipping CD, I'm sure, but I have a brain infection caused by mold, mycotoxins. If you want to look it up, like if you need to get a screening, it's called a mycotoxin screen. It's usually done by urine.
Mm-hmm. But
I consumed a moldy dispensing good that was made by Cookies, and the grower was in my hometown. Yeah, life has been extremely different ever since then. It's just been trying to cling on to this legacy that we built, and I'm one of the only people that are still trying to pave. A lot of other people are just, like my brothers, my uncles and stuff, they're just worn out. They're tired of fighting the law and going against billion-dollar corporations to try and get your foot in the door. And
right.
It just gets to be a lot. And, yeah, after I got that mold infection, it seemed to open my eyes up to how lucky I was to have that access that my uncles were giving me the whole time. Because I've been smoking for 12 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I started smoking when I was 13 years old. The infection started when I was 26. And since then, I just haven't really put a limit on anything. Like, okay, well, if we're going to do it, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm in New York right now by myself. And, like, I've been coming up here on a consistent basis for the past year and a half. To the point my guy King Gregory thought I lived here. Shout out King Gregory. But it's just been a wild experience the last 2 years, just trying to keep grounded and still be applying myself in careers, still trying to gain knowledge and educate.
Yes.
At the same time.
And that's exactly why we do this. Yeah. Because everybody needs to be educated on what they're smoking, what's going around, and they need to know it's not just about the name and the quick dollar from whoever's the salesman is.
And that's the most reputable thing that my legacy has provided on the Eastern Shore is the knowledge of the plant, how to use it.
Yes.
And what you can use and what not to stay away from. And like
true quality control.
Yes, quality control. But it's also like we didn't mind risking ourselves because of how much positivity and joy it brought to other people. We saw how much they suffered, we saw how much discomfort they had. And like, even if their time wasn't guaranteed, if they were on the end, if you made it that much more enjoyable, it was worth whatever you had to go through. And I mean, there's a reason why you take your job seriously. There's people that just piddle paddle and play in this.
Yeah.
And then there's professionals that will watch everything, pay attention. They keep their butt covered. You know what I'm saying? Make sure they're not going to get caught up. But that's the most reputable thing that my legacy has given to the Eastern Shore of Maryland is the knowledge. No matter how much somebody's kept coming to us for access, they've always came to us for questions and access to the information. Yeah. Sorry for the...
No worries. If there's anything that you would want people to take away from this interview, from your standpoint or from your legacy standpoint, what would it be?
Just because you have an idea doesn't mean you have to voice it to other people to get approval. Most times they're not going to approve it. They might doubt you, and you don't doubt yourself. You know what you're capable of. You know what you've done. You're the only person that can tell you what you can do. And you have a dream. Sounds crazy. You know what I mean? If you just have a goal or something that, even if it doesn't relate to your peer group or your family, don't put it in the grave just because of that. Don't let a dream die just because there's no support in your bubble for it anymore. Maybe there was support. Like with my legacy, I had everybody around me.
Yeah.
I have my uncles, I have my brothers, I have my cousins. It's just me now. I'm carrying the flame. You know, I'm carrying the torch.
Yeah.
And I mean, they love for me to carry it. They're there if I need it. But there's a lot of things that I discuss, and I have ideas, and I have these things, and they don't understand it. I don't get the validation that I seek.
Yeah. They're not excited with you.
Instead of seeking it and getting the letdown, don't set yourself up for that.
Right.
Let the work speak later instead of telling them what the work is going to do. It's like me telling you how fire the buds are going to be on this.
Yeah.
You have no idea until you see until you see it.
And it's going to be a big difference from the love that you put into it. How you take care of it.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have anything, any type of interest, if you like to do music, if you like to draw, if you like food, I don't care if it's going to make you $1 million or it's not. It doesn't have to make money to make somebody happy. It's the best thing about us doing what we do with cannabis. Cannabis falls in the line with food. It's an experience good. It's a good you give to somebody that gives an experience. Mm-hmm. So like, you can, as a chef, you can take enjoyment in people liking your dish.
Right.
And picking out the little details that you thought nobody else was going to pick up on. It's the same thing as a grower. It's like, that's why I love going around trying cannabis and giving it the description that I give it, because I know I'm not trying to say it in a cocky manner, but I analyze and articulate cannabis in a different manner than most can. Mm-hmm. Even a perfect example, when I was taking my grow class with Stronger last year, we had the Branson drop at Search Lounge.
Okay.
In honor of Branson.
Nice.
Triangle shaped bag and the cookies collab. I got it. Smoked it. There's no genetic information available for that at all. You have to know the producer, or you have to know the person that gave it to the producer to know what genetic it really is. I was having a conversation with an old peer of mine out front of our classroom. Mm-hmm. Scarner and all of us were all smoking outside. And I was talking about the Branson. I almost lost it. Sorry. The Branson. And I was telling him I really liked it, and it reminded me of a mochi cross. Some type of mochi cross. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And in the middle of me talking to my peer, Scarner interrupted. He cut me off. He's like, it is a mochi cross. And it is good, because he had got a couple bags himself. He liked it. Like, I'll, like right now, I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to close my eyes, and wherever it takes me is the description I give. Like where I'm sitting down somewhere eating the food, or I'm in a certain place. You know what I mean? And that's half of cannabis. Cannabis isn't always just flavor. Same thing with a dish of food, it's the nostalgia.
Right.
You taste a certain taste profile, it don't even matter if it tastes good to other people, it just tastes like home. Like I could, like Scrapple. Probably the worst thing to talk about right now. Nobody around here knows what Scrapple is, and they probably don't want to know. But back home, I love that shit.
Yeah, like, right.
But like you bring it up to a regular person, they probably not gonna fuck with it.
Right.
And it's the same thing with cannabis. When you run into that black Cuban haze, and it make your hair stand up, because it make you smell like you smelling the smell when you was like 7 years old, running around the hallway near a room you wasn't allowed in. You know what I'm saying? You had to knock for a to come out and get you something, because you was not allowed in that room. Mm-hmm. It's different things like that, little nuances that bring joy. And they're all different shapes and forms. And it's different forms to get the same note. You know what I mean? And cannabis is like, it's like music. It's like every strain could be a genre. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then every pheno could be a track.
Fire. And
like, it's a symphony. It's all different things tapping off. It's like an orchestra. It's all different instruments popping off. Same thing with this plant. It's all different things popping off to give you a certain feeling, and to come together in a certain harmony.
That was an incredible description, my brother. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It be coming out of me a lot of times. I be trying to channel it, but I be.
Sometimes you just gotta let
fighting myself.
You gotta let the weed do the work.
Yeah, I mean that comes from just being around a lot of my peers.
Yeah.
And like I love my peers, so I don't want to down them.
Absolutely.
So I'll reduce myself. I'm like that's me being me. That's me maxed out. You know what I mean? That's my highest potential. But like sometimes I don't want my potential to shun my friends because I love them.
Right.
So I'll reduce my potential.
And you need to be elevating in the spaces that are going to elevate your potential.
Yeah.
Because
that's why I mean, you can try sometimes, but the reason why the pigeons don't fly the same height as an eagle.
That's a fact. Listen.
They might be at the same water hole, you know what I'm saying? The eagle get along with the pigeon.
But they don't
Pigeon
fly.
get a little bug off his back that was gonna fuck him up. He cool.
Mm-hmm.
But they just don't fly at the same altitude.
And that makes the biggest difference of why you come all the way from Baltimore to New York and you travel the East Coast and the West Coast and you search to make and bring quality control. The best of the.
I'm always searching for the best. And if I find it, I have nothing but the utmost respect and appreciation. Because the time is like,
if that's not
a water, like who's all in the drop though?
Right. And
like time is the drop of the water. Who's all in the drop? Like we all on the same drop. Me, like even this interview, like damn, we in the same drop. I get an interview.
You feel me?
It's crazy right now. Like I've been telling my people, I need something like this, an outlet to hear our story.
Yes.
And just like I said earlier with the family, they not thinking our story is that crazy.
Oh, this is just the first.
They're not even like they're not.
This is just the first part.
Yeah.
They gotta wait for part 2. There's gonna be follow-ups. This is just the first part.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Listen.
But even like they don't grasp the gravity of like hearing
the magnitude
of like hearing stories about like with Sherbinsky, how he founded the Sherb and the Gelatos, and even like how Backpack Boys just disclosed on how he found the lemon cherry. It was a backseat. You know what I mean? And like just hearing them stories and like they came up in an earlier time and it was different. Like nobody around them knew quality, but they had a real niche. It was a niche to be able to have a sense of what was good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like a chocolatier before you knew what a chocolatier was.
Exactly.
And that's actually how I found Scrubber. Through his mentor, Frenchie Canoli. Frenchie Canoli is one of the founders of the Gagier. The Gagier is a ganja sommelier course. That's the only thing that I've been able to like relate to. Like, yes, something that takes cannabis as serious as I fucking do. Like, it can be right there with wine. It's just as great. I can analyze this just like somebody down the street. You know what I mean? We're in New York City right now. They could be at a $5,000 a plate type of restaurant with a $300 glass of wine. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're gonna examine that wine before they just down it. It's not like a shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They're gonna let it aerate. They're gonna smell it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like even like smelling the flower when it's there, smelling it when you break it down. The contrast of okay, it gained a little bit more of a different note now that I broke it down.
Yes.
Rolling it up, doing a dry pull, like she tastes crazy right now, and even flaming it up and seeing if it reflects. And sometimes some of the best ones get your flavor here.
When you get to the middle or the bottom, yeah.
It'd be the weirdest thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know the science, but through personal experience, some of the best weed that I've had, because I'm a bong smoker. I like smoking out of bongs, bro. I like glass on glass. I even use a paper towel as a filter on top of it, so that way you catch the tar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes your chest a lot lighter.
See, and now that sounds like some $1 Million Lungs kind of smoke. I'm gonna have to try that. We're gonna try that on the next episode. You heard?
Oh, yeah. I'll bring some filters.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you got a Bounty paper towel? It's a paper towel or a paper towel and a half. Usually bongs ain't that big enough to take 2 paper towels. You just fold it in half. You take your finger and just whoop, just like that. And it's gonna catch all your Scooby snacks. Anybody who comes over and rips your piece and pulls too much water, they not getting water in their mouth. And when the first 2 rips, you're gonna see how resiny it is, dog. You'll see like, damn, that was in my teeth, on my tongue, in the back of my throat, on my lung. And you're like, damn, it's on this paper towel now. To the trash.
So we got 1 minute left. I just want to wrap up with you. Thank you so much for coming out and being here and sitting down with us for our first episode of $1 Million Lungs. Shout out your Instagram one more time.
MD Dabber 420. You also catch us at East Coast Petro.
Yes, sir.
If you like food, you can find it at TJS Food and Fit. That's where I do all kinds of food reviews and my gym stuff.
All right.
Appreciate you having me and giving me the opportunity, man. Stay blessed. You got $1 Million Lungs or not?
Yes, sir. $1 Million Lungs worthy.